He said if Quinn was gay that he would be all over him, and not to leave him over a few small lies. This whole drive was awkward. I didn't want to talk to this guy at all. I just wanted him gone. He then pulls out a diamond ring and tries to propose to me. I told him no, but he slides the rock on my finger anyway. He said I only needed to think about it. I got to the theater and shit just goes downhill from there. He embarrassed me in front of my friends with his ignorance and childishness, and threw a bitch fit because my other best friend, Mikey, gave me a piggyback ride. He storms out, and then his mother started calling to check up on him. I decided I was done. After rehearsal, I got a friend to go with me to drive him home, and I tried to give his ring back, but he wouldn't take it. I leave and go to a bar with a few friends, and I told him that was why I had to take him home so early. Driving back, I see flashing lights in my rear view mirror, and I hear yelling. Chris and Quinn are following me. I pull into the bar, and Chris throws Quinn and myself at each other and yells that we need to talk. I break up with Quinn on the spot, and he starts throwing a fit. I walk into the bar with my friend, and I spent the night at Mikey's for a few days. When I returned home, I had tons of harassing phone calls. He called me and my grandparents every few hours. He even had Chris help. Everywhere I went, he was there. He stalked me at home, made me run from a theater during a movie, and followed my car. Chris helped him do all of this. He even pulled a gun on my family while we were outside during Easter. I was helping the little kids hunt eggs when he cruised by several times and then pulled his gun, threatening to shoot. I filed a restraining order that day, and I moved in with Mikey so he would leave my grandparents alone. I went nowhere without at least 2 guys with me at all times. I thought any minute he would come and kill me. I felt like I was being stalked and hunted like a deer in the woods. I was lucky because one day he shot up the car of his next girlfriend while her 2-year-old daughter was inside. I was damn lucky. My dad and I went hiking a few days ago. My dad is a waterfall fanatic and he wants to see as many as possible. So he and I are hiking along a pretty trail. We're hiking along a river and it's flowing nicely and there's mountains all around us. The trail is weaving around big, beautiful boulders. I'm hiking at most 30 feet ahead of him, looking for a spot to stop and have a sit down for our picnic lunch. And as I rounded a blind curve in the trail, I just froze. Sitting on a stump maybe 10 feet off the right side of the trail is a guy. He's wearing one of those colorful Baja hoodies with the hood pulled up and a half mask with rabbit ears. He sees me and stands up right as my dad rounds the corner. We're all three sizing each other up in silence, and my dad addresses him. "What's up, buddy?" The masked man tips his head as if he was deciding what to do with us, and then says back, "Not much, you guys aren't the ones I'm waiting for. Have a good day." Then he turns and jogs off quickly into the woods. Strapped on his lower back was a large hunting knife, and he had a pistol on his hip. We lost sight of him pretty quickly. He hadn't seen a soul on the trail all day, and we had been hiking for almost 3 hours. Needless to say, we left the waterfall for another day and quickly turned around. Once we were off the trail, we reported it to the local Forest Service and the police, but they said they couldn't really do anything aside from keep an eye out for any suspicious activity. The masked guy didn't have a backpack or water or anything, which makes me think he had either stashed it somewhere or was maybe camping and waiting nearby. I hate to admit it, but I desperately wanted to go after the guy and ask who he was waiting for and why. This happened to me about 4 years ago when I was 21. So it's Easter, broad daylight, maybe around 11 a.m. I'm in the fashion district of my big city, which is relatively safe during daytime. I'd never had any actual run-ins with crazy people, even though I would see homeless people and unwell people all the time talking to themselves. I'm normally pretty good at keeping my head down and sensing danger before it happens, or so I thought. Anyways, I was looking for a nice shoe store, and I passed a homeless woman who's either on drugs or unwell, or both, and I made a note of her. But I ignore her because it's broad daylight and it's Easter, and there's many people around. However, she was sitting on the edge of the sidewalk yelling to herself. I go into my store a couple blocks down and finish up there. I pass her again to go to another store. Then when I go to pass her a third time, that was the last straw for her apparently. She decided that she knew me from somewhere. I see her get up and start to yell at me. "Hey you, fuck you bitch. You stupid bitch. You thought I wouldn't know it was you," and she charges at me. It all happened so fast. I thought I was having a leisurely stroll on Easter, so I didn't have my car keys out yet. or even my pepper spray. I start to run to my car and she's behind me. I'm now kind of against my car and I turn around. She's right there. I size her up and she's very dirty and has sores, and I think to myself I definitely don't want to fight her. Not that I can even fight anyways, but I figure now is not the time to learn. I also think to myself that if I stay by my car, she's going to damage it in the process of trying to attack me, and I can't find my keys in time. She goes to sucker punch me in the back of the neck as I duck and run, and she barely misses me. This is all within like 10 seconds, by the way. It all happened so fast. Also, nobody is helping, despite it being a busy street, even with me screaming. I am lucky enough to accidentally run into the last store I had been in. If it had been another store that didn't know me, I think they probably would have kicked me out for causing a scene. I live in a big city and I've had issues like this before, where shopkeepers won't help because they don't want the drama. You know, the drama I had nothing to do with, but I digress. I ran to the employee and I was crying, telling him about the lady, and she runs in after me and I hide behind the counter, with me telling the guy worker that I need to get to my car and that she won't let me and that she tried to hit me, etc. He must have known her from the neighborhood, and he held her back for me as I got into my car and drove off safely. The whole time she was still screaming and trying to get around him to me. I finally made it to my family's Easter thing safe, but I avoided that part of the city for a couple of years. I've always wanted to go back and thank that man. I don't know what would have happened if he wasn't there or how I would have gotten into my car. And to that crazy lady who thought she knew me and wanted to punch me in the street on Easter, you're insane.